All right, how you guys doing today? About to hop into the reaction. No, we're hopping into the fourth part review of Proverbs chapter 25. The first things first, though, just want to make sure y'all like that video up. You know what to do. Hit a little exit full screen, scroll just a little bit, like it, and then full screen back up. You feel me? All right, so we left off with verse 18. All right, a man that bears false witness against his neighbor is a maul, a sword, and a sharp arrow. Right, and these are three, I was about to say four, three bad things. A maul. That's, you ever think about getting mauled by a bear? Now imagine, I'll pull up the visual because I don't really remember what a maul is, but I know it's a medieval type weapon. Yeah, one of these big old hammer type things. Like, you ain't really want to mess with somebody with a maul. Anyway, so it's a maul, one, two, a sword, and three, a sharp arrow. So we know that bearing false witness is a sin. We know that the wages of sin are death. So, as per said, right, a maul, sword, and sharp arrow can cause death, same way that sinning or bearing false witness, for example, can also cause death. Verse 19, confidence in an unfaithful man in a time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. Right, I guess when a broken tooth, you go to eat your favorite food and then you remember as being a kid when you lost your tooth or teeth or however many you lost, right? With that pain when you didn't expect it. You really didn't expect it. One minute you're just eating on normal, the next minute I can still feel the feelings, right? Because they're connected to nerves, right? And when something's connected to nerves, it's a specific feeling that you have when it's, pain or comfort, even though I don't know if you can comfort a nerve, right? But it's a specific feeling. And confidence in an unfaithful man in the time of trouble is like nerve pain. It hits deep, it hurts deep, and it's not easily fixed, right? It takes time to heal that. It's not impossible, right? Your teeth grows back. Now, broken tooth though, you might be cooked there, right? But I've actually been somebody who's got their tooth sliced in half. If you look at my beaver teeth or my front teeth, I don't know if you can tell, but this one is just my left side one is just a little bit shorter because it got sliced in half and they had to put a cap on it. So it's shown that my right tooth has grown just a little bit more than my left tooth has because it's prosthetic. So it's a broken tooth, and let me tell you, when that thing was broken, life sucked. Every breath in hurt. Didn't even matter if I was breathing through my nose, the air would still come in through my mouth, and oh my gosh, I can still remember that pain, right? And then a foot out of joint, you'd have to either put it into its joint, right? Out of socket. What do they call that? Dislocated, right? A dislocated foot. We gotta pop it back into place. But even then, you still gotta lay off it, and it still has to heal, right? And action's gotta be taken, and then it still has to take time for that to heal naturally. But in some cases, most cases, it'll probably never be the same again, right? Verse 20, as he that takes away a garment in cold weather, as vinegar upon nitre, I don't know how to pronounce that, so is he that sings songs to a heavy heart. And originally, this is the reason we're in Proverbs. I don't even want to lie to you guys, right? This verse right here is the reason I came back to Proverbs, because I wanted to find it again. Because I think that this verse has a very, very real application that we overlook in today's society oftentimes. And that is, right, taking away a garment in cold weather. It's cold. They need heat. You take away the garment. Vinegar upon soda. You have something sweet, you ruin it. He that sings songs to a heavy heart. You're exasperating, to use a broad vocabulary word, the sadness, the same way you're increasing the coldness of somebody in the cold weather. So this says that niter or natrone or niter, whatever you want to call it, creates a fizzing and disruptive sensation when vinegar is poured onto it. So I won't lie, the reason I originally wanted to come to this verse was because I see that it says singing songs to a heavy heart, right? A sad person who's getting songs sung to them, same way that somebody's getting their coat taken away in cold weather, right? You're pouring salt on the wound. If you're sad, why are you singing sad songs to somebody to feel more sad? However, as we can see from these translations, a lot of translations take it to mean more joyful songs down here, which goes to show, I'll get into the Pastor Paul breakdown in a minute, but originally I wanted to come to this because I just wanted to say that we too often just like to stay in our sad states, right? We don't put our faith in God to help us out of it or to do anything, create a miracle where we feel better spontaneously. We just say, oh, I'm down on my luck, let me keep piling on these feelings and these feelings. And we read this article back in I believe my sophomore year, where it said that women like to stay sad when they're sad, right? They like to make themselves more sad and more sad. And men, when they're angry, like to make themselves more and more angry. And I would also like to liken it to that, where it's just, what good does that, serve? In the Bible, we're told to put away all anger, wrath, and malice. So when men want to just stay angry, just stay angry, it's not reaping any good. Women staying sad to stay sad, I don't really know what that's reaping. I think it's more sensuality in the biblical sense of like appealing to your senses, because we know that crying releases feel good endorphins. So some people may even have an addiction to crying because it makes them feel good, same way that some others may have an addiction to something else, right? And you could say crying is not inherently evil, but when you're putting pressure on it to cry rather than create solutions, I think that it can inherently become evil, because you're not looking to God. You just say, oh, I can't help anything, I'm going to lose all responses that I can possibly have, and I'm just going to cry. Which I think is why crying is one of the worst things you could do in a situation, because it's also just like you can't control your emotions. It's literally your body's response of, I can't control myself. Now, it's good when you're crying and crying out to God. Like I've told this story, I don't know how many times on the channel, right? There's one time, the first time I realized that, I needed help from God for real. I was doing push-ups in my room. I just broke down crying. Like I was about to do my push-ups, I was on one knee about to get off the other knee and start going, and I just broke down crying. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know why I was crying. Literally was so weird. And every time I think back to that, I'm just like, I don't know how. I literally can't remember how it happened, in the sense of like how the tears started coming, because I had music on. I was literally I was in the locked in state of about to do push-ups in my room, as every man has probably gone through at one point in his life. And I just remember, out of nowhere, tears, mad tears. And I couldn't think of anything else to do but cry out to God. And that was my body's way of saying, I can't do anything. My mind's way of saying, I can't even think of a solution. And my body saying, that makes sense. Let's go with it and just do nothing, right? The worst solution possible, taking me back to being a kid, being helpless is what crying does. And when you're helpless as a baby, who consoles you? Who offers a solution? Your Father in heaven. And in that moment, I recognized that, unconsciously, of course. Like, I didn't come to have these thoughts until much later, when everything started to fall into place, because I realized I can't do anything in this moment. This moment is not mine. This life is not mine. And I cried out to God. I said, help me, show me what you want me to do. I am lost. I said, I am lost. And I asked God to show me where he wants me, put me where he wants me, do with me what he wants to do. And since then, he's been putting me on paths, and I've been doing stuff. I'm not going to say I've been perfect, right? Because nobody is. But at the same time, I know that like I'm on the path he wants me to be on. And if I'm not, then may God, continue to mold me and put me where he wants me to be. As far as I'm concerned, I can see the strides that I've made, not only in my spiritual health, but just in every aspect of my life, in terms of where he wants me to be and how I'm becoming a quote unquote better Christian, right? And it's all because when I cried to God. I realized I was helpless, and I sought the only one who could show me that there was help and there was direction when I felt lost, right? And so that's the reason I came back to this verse in Proverbs. That's the reason I started Proverbs again, because I just wanted to find this one verse. And I didn't want to look it up because I felt like that was cheating, right? I didn't want to look it up because I was just like, that's the easy way out. And that way I don't get the context around the rest of Proverbs. I don't get the wisdom that's supposed to come back, because I see this now and I see it through a different lens. The first time I read it was when I was reading through the Old Testament, and I just thought, we're really not supposed to be that sad. And this was probably prior to my freshman year. And now I'm going into my senior year at the end of this summer. It starts my senior year, right? And I'm pretty sure I read that before my my freshman year of college. And now I'm going into senior year, which shows how much growth, how much maturity there was, and the fact that I wanted to put the time in to reread the book of Proverbs, to get the wisdom out of it that I know I could get out of it through the grace of God, right? And with God's help and the mind that he's blessed me with, and understand me better, right? And understand the meaning better. But also, that was my initial thoughts. Technically, it's wrong. Technically, all my whole thoughts that I thought about this verse were wrong, because really it's about disregarding somebody's feelings. So like if somebody's sad and you're trying to cheer them up, right? Part of it is not disregarding their feelings, right? We're supposed to be empathetic and sympathetic. However, that's not how I interpreted it the first time. But maturing is realizing that I have resources now to see that what I was interpreting in as was wrong, right? I still think there's some truth to what I said in this world, that, right, people just like to be sad and cry for no reason and hoopty blah. But we can see here that we have to care about people. Just the way you'd be like, oh, it's cold. Yo, can I have my coat back? But it's freezing and you have one on. Oh, but I lent you my coat and I just remembered. Can I have it back? Oh. Oh, you want some of this? Oh, hold on. Let me pour some vinegar on it real quick. But I was going to drink that. Nah, hold on real quick. Let me just put some vinegar on it real fast. That's you good. But now I can't drink it. No, you good. You can still drink it. It's going to upset my stomach. Nah, bro, trust. It's the same drink, bro. Just added some vinegar for you. You know what it is. And the same way that it's, I can't. Life is so hard. Because I'm happy, clap along if you... What are you doing? I'm trying to make you happy. You know that one song? Because I clap along if you feel like a... Come on, clap with me. What? This is not helping. You know what I'm saying? That's like the 3 examples of these things where it's like you're disregarding somebody's feelings and their mind and just going with whatever direction you want to do. And as a Christian, we can't even do that, because that's not even how our relationship with God is supposed to work. We're not supposed to look at God and say, the Bible says marriage is between a man and woman. Let me just not do that. Let me go establish this God-given covenant with somebody of the same sex, because I don't care. Because I'm better. Because I know what's right and what's wrong, and love is love. And you should be okay with that. And if you're not, something's wrong with you, not me. So yeah, there'll be another part to this. I spent way too long talking about this, but I think it's important. I really think that was important. So I hope you guys like that. All right, that's gonna be the end of the video. Hope you guys have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.